Welcome back to Divine Radio. Um, Yesterday was ironically humbling because I came out here with the intention of recording this topic, and the idea had come to me that morning, and I was feeling really good. It wasn't the original plan to do that this soon, but when it popped into my head, I just felt really called to share it. Because the kind of aha moment I had, a couple years ago with this topic was just so profound, and it really shifted um, and helped me kind of understand what it means to have self-love and how to find that and embrace that. But yeah, so I come out and feeling good, and I sit down, and you know for whatever reason, I just was feeling extra bothered by like the wind, kind of like it's blowing now. It's blowing from behind. My hair was going everywhere. And it was just, for some reason, bothering me more than it normally would. But I still kept trying to film. And then finally, once the wind settled, there was just like this swarm of bugs and flies just flying around, flying into my face, my eyes, my mouth. It was a mess. Or it felt like a mess. And then if those factors weren't playing into it, I was just being a little critical, a little more critical about how I looked, how I sounded, just kind of everything. So yeah, it was kind of it it was it felt like a mess, and I don't want to say failure, but definitely didn't go how I was expecting it to. So, um, but as I was driving home, 50 plus takes later, literally 50 plus, I was trying to think it through and trying to understand why this was happening. And the one thought that kept coming into my head is that I still have some work to do in this area, especially when it comes to like recording this kind of stuff. But I guess I can also say that I'm really proud of how far I have come already with this. And then kind of the other thing was, I think it'll be a good example to others who might be dealing with the same thing, and you know feeling that extra self-critical, just feeling extra self-critical when it comes to expressing themselves and sharing their truth and their light and everything. uh, I may add some bloopers at the end just for your pure entertainment, but um, I mean, by doing that, I'm also kind of doing that for myself, because there was a certain point where I would have never even considered doing that, because I would have been embarrassed and, you know, again, would just like tear myself apart. Um, so yeah, let's get into it, and hopefully this flows better, and this is the better time for it, and hopefully I learned my lessons and can just present what I want to say. So, um, yeah, I grew up hearing that term or that phrase. There's beauty in the imperfections, um, and as a kid, young adult, and even close to the age I am now, I never. It was so difficult for me to kind of like grasp that concept and truly embrace it, because I grew up as a perfectionist, and um, perfection in everything I did, perfection in the way I spoke and presented myself, and always wanting to say and do the right things. Um, and, you know, at the time I wore that as like a badge of honor, because, I was under the impression that this is what we're supposed to strive for, to be quote unquote perfect. Um, But as I got older and started kind of continuing down my healing journey, um, I actually started to see perfectionism for what it truly is, like what's lurking beneath the surface of it. And the majority of the time, say 99.9% of the time, it's it's rooted in your insecurities and fears of being unworthy, unlovable, not good enough. And I checked all those boxes. Um, so once I kind of made that connection, I was able to slowly start, recognizing where I was putting too much pressure on myself to be perfect. Because I mean, A, it's an unachievable desire. B, who's to say what true perfection actually is? I know with social media and the media in general, and everything we're seeing around with like celebrities, influencers, etc. Like, um, there somebody out there's created some kind of ideal that we believe to be considered perfection and something that would make us lovable and worthy and good enough. And you know, I feel really bad for those who are kind of caught up in that cycle, but I think more and more people are starting to wake up to the fact that there is no such thing as true perfection. True perfection is imperfect. Like, the imperfectness aspects of yourself is what makes you perfect. And again, I know that can be a really hard concept to understand, especially if you're still really caught up in, just not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, and yeah. So hopefully, with the little kind of breakthrough I had, um, maybe that will help you kind of understand it and be able to start integrating that into your life. So, a couple years ago, I went home to my parents' place for the holidays and um, wanted to build a bookshelf for myself, like a custom bookshelf with, the kind of wood I wanted. I wanted live edge shelves, and I kind of had like a general design in my mind. And I'm grateful that my dad is a self-taught carpenter, and he always loves whenever I come home and say I want to work on something or want to build something. It's kind of how we bond in many cases. But so yeah, we're there, and we're kind of talking through the wood pieces that I want to use, like what type of wood, and kind of what look I'm going for. And as I'm selecting some of the wood pieces, he kept referencing the knots in the wood, and um, almost like trying to encourage me not to use them, but still knowing it was my choice. But it was clear that it's not the choice he would have made personally. But rather than calling them knots, he kept calling them imperfections. And I've never heard them referred to as that before. And he literally said imperfections like 5 times in a matter of minutes. And so I kind of took note of that in my mind. And then I just asked him, I was like, why do you keep calling them imperfections? He's like, well, that's just what they're called. They're just like a visible imperfection in the wood grain. And I um, kind of just like, let that go. But then I told him, I was like, no, I like them. I like the way they look, and I like the character that they give. So, okay, so with all that said, he sets me up with my task for the day, which was planing after we'd already kind of put some pieces together, was planing a bunch of wood. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term with planing, it's basically a process, a machine that you slide the wood through, and it just helps to like very gradually shave off and flatten the pieces, just to make sure that all of it's level, which for shelves is obviously important. And you know, I had a lot to plane, so it spent several hours out there. And what I actually ended up finding out and loving about it was that it was this repetitive, like cycle and routine that you would go to. You know, you put one side in and you let it shave it down, you pull it out, you flip it over, you lower the blade a little bit more, and you're doing this over and over and over again until you get every element, every side level that's to the size you want. But what I loved about that, and what I love about kind of those mindless little routines, is that I like my physical ego kind of goes into autopilot, where I don't have to like, where it just frees up my mind and my consciousness to kind of like work through and process things. It's one of the reasons I love driving like long road trips, like cross country road trips, is because on certain stretches I kind of have the same experience. A lot of clarity comes through, a lot of breakthroughs, new ideas, etc. Um, so yeah, so you know, I'm in the depths of this process, and you know, I was looking at the pieces I was working on, and just kind of admiring their beauty and their uniqueness and their texture, and then all of a sudden, you know, it clicked in my mind, because I started thinking about him calling them imperfections and how they're called imperfections, but how I have always loved and been drawn to um, those types of pieces with the knots in them. And I actually did. I brought some of the shelves for visual aids, because who doesn't love a visual aid? And also, I felt like for those who are not fully familiar with wood grain, knots, etc., it'd be easier for you to understand kind of the metaphor and the concept. But yeah, so I'm, you know, admiring their beauty and start thinking about the imperfections. And I, like I said, I've always loved them because I always thought they added just this unique, beautiful character and flow, and sometimes color change to the wood. And then yeah, it just clicked in my mind how applying that to myself, that's what it means to find beauty in the imperfections. Is, you know, it's something that you might think is undesirable or um, not good enough, you know, and within yourself. Let me see. I think this is where I was struggling the other day. So let me see if I can pull this out. It's it's something that others may have made you feel, or even just you yourself have felt, because um, we've all been brought up on this concept and this ideal of like what it means to be worthy, good enough, successful. Society, family, friends, the media have all been pushing these ideas into our mind. And if for whatever reason we didn't seem to fit into that hole, that box, then there was something wrong with us, and that was something to be hidden, um, or just yeah, or like ashamed to even show. Um, but the opposite is actually true. It's those unique elements and aspects of ourselves that not only make us special and authentic, but that those are the qualities that people are going to love the most about us. And anybody who tries to make you feel differently, honestly, they're probably dealing with their own issues with feeling unworthy and trying to strive for some ideal that somebody told them is what they should go for. Um, so yeah, let me jump into this, and maybe this will kind of help me and help you guys. So I brought a couple pieces. They are unfinished in the sense that I still need to stain them with like a clear stain, and then another protective coat or layer. But so here's a knot right there. Um, and fun fact, knots are actually where branches used to be. And from what I understand, because there's the cracks in this branch actually died and it just left its place there. But look at the difference between, this is probably where the trunk was, you know? You see how everything is just straight, uh, honestly kind of boring and basic and just not very appealing or attractive. But as you move along and you get closer to where this branch used to be, you can see how not only the flow and the design starts to change around it, but even the color, and it gives it this unique, special, beautiful touch and visual that, had that branch never grown, this is what it would have looked like, and I think that's, and let me actually show you the other side too, just because I think that's really, really pretty. You can really see kind of how the flow and the texture changes. But again, society is making you think and believe that this is perfect. This is what you should be. You shouldn't try to stand out. You shouldn't try and be yourself, because anything that doesn't fit into their idea of the norm or whatever is the only way for you to fit in, fit into the world, fit into society. Um, but the truth is that this is what we should be striving for. This is what we want. This is how we find our friends, our tribe, our partners, our community, ourselves. Okay, is by embracing what some people might deem as an imperfection, um, because that's what makes us us, and that's what makes us beautiful and special, um, and ultimately that's the only way you're ever going to be able to find, like, really feel happiness and fulfillment within yourself. you know Trying to fit into someone else's idea of what perfection is exhausting, and honestly it's a losing situation, um, not only because, well, because it's stopping you from living the life that you're truly destined to live. um, And again, I think I see more and more people. I kind of see both sides of it. I'm seeing more and more people kind of step into their authenticity and embrace that. I know that's something I've been working on. Doing this podcast is part of that for me. Speaking my truth, and trying to let myself be my authentic, playful, just goofy self, which maybe isn't coming through right now. I'm hoping it'll start coming through a little more as we go along, and especially as I start bringing people on too. But um, where was I going with that? I don't remember, but I want to keep this going. No one take today, okay? That's the plan. But yeah, so that's what makes us special. That's what makes us unique. We didn't come here to be some cookie cutter robot that society has basically for generations has made us think was right and the norm and the only way to be safe. Um, because, yeah, you think they make you think that you have to fit in order to, yeah, like I said, to be safe and not stand out, because and they try and make you feel that by, like, standing out and expressing yourself, it makes you, there's, I don't know, different beliefs of, like, making you feel like, well, they think they're better than you, or someone, or you know they're weird, or they're crazy, or um yeah, any fill in the blank. I think we've all had our own unique experiences with how it's affected us, um but honestly, anybody who ever tries to make you think or feel those ways is hiding what's truly authentic to themselves, because somebody who embraces who they are, accepts who they are, and does their best to express themselves authentically every day will never make you feel that way. Um, a healthy, grounded, balanced individual will love you and embrace you for everything that you are. Um, you know, as I said, and as the title of this episode is, there's beauty in the imperfection. And it wasn't until I had that kind of aha moment with the woodworking and the knots that it really clicked. And honestly, ever since that point, I still had things to work through and kind of release, but I was always able to come back to that and remember that and just feel good about who I am, how I speak, what comes out of my mouth. And eventually, the more you kind of start reminding yourself of this and just embracing it, the freer you feel, and the better life just gets. Honestly, you kind of just stop caring what um, what anybody has to say, because once you get and you know what your truest essence is, like, there's nothing anybody can say to you that's going to knock you off that feeling. And I mean, it could, but you can always remind yourself that you know who you truly are, and you know that there are people out there who not only will love you for everything that you are, but they want to be in your energy. They want to be in your world and your space. Whether it's, like I said, friends, coworkers, lovers, partners, business partners, people who want to collaborate with you. But if you're constantly dimming your light and hiding those aspects of yourself that make you who you are, that unique individual that you are, you're never going to you're never going to find those people, and they'll never be able to find you. And that's been a big kind of thought and uh, kind of lesson that I've had to that's been popping up, especially as I'm doing this podcast, and even before I did it. Because being afraid to share, like, my truth or my beliefs, especially as on you know spirituality, past lives, etc. It's only preventing me from finding and attracting those kinds of people that I want in my life, that the ones who get me on that soul level. And that's all I've wanted for so long. So yeah. um think I think I got the point across. I hope I did. I hope the explanation was clear enough. I gave you one example. I guess I can show you this one too. This one's a little different. This is one of my favorite types of wood. But as you can see, I guess it changes the whole vibe, the whole energy, the whole look of it, and it just makes it more beautiful. And um, by embracing your knots, in many cases, it allows the light to shine through. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that with this, but um, it allows the light to shine through and for you to shine your light outward. So, you know, hang in there. Start allowing yourself to trust and see the beautifully imperfect perfection that you are. Because, like I said, once you start getting to that place, you're starting to achieve, like, your true freedom, true individualized freedom, and life just gets so much better and so much easier, not only for you internally, but you just start attracting more people that you vibe with, that's based on true, real, authentic connection, not the superficial, surface level connections that seem to be the trend anymore. Um, and that's not me knocking people. I mean, we've all had them, or we've had them, or have them. But again, once you start really tapping in and loving yourself for all the imperfect perfection that you are, you start to realize that those kinds of relationships just don't fulfill you anymore. Um, which again can get a little lonely at times, but that's why it's so important for you to put yourself out there in the most authentic version that you can, because that's how you're going to be. You're going to put up your beacon, and that's how your people, your tribe, the ones that your soulmates of in essence, that's how you're going to find them, and that's how they're going to find you too. um, yeah, I think that's it. I think if I keep going, I'm just going to ramble. I'm really happy and proud that I was able to do this all in one take, and especially, after yesterday. Ah, clearly, the universe was like, well, let's just throw one more little random thing in there just for funsies' sake, okay? So I'm gonna leave that in. I might add the bloopers at the end just for your inspiration and entertainment. But yeah, take care, guys. Until next time. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Divine Radio.
Welcome back to Divine Radio. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to share. Welcome back to Divine Radio. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to share this insight about this topic today. Oh my gosh. It did. It had a massive impact on my life, and being able to embrace my authenticity and really understand what it means to have self-love. So yeah, I'm a recovering perfectionist. Oh my God. And I think in some capacity, I think a lot of us feel that that's what we have to do or be in order to feel love and accepted. Hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to share today's insight. Oh my God, guys. Yeah, in the process of filming this episode, I'm realizing I still have some work to do. This is like take 357 or something like that. But um, I felt called to share it.